I mean, it's a Disney movie. When are they ever completely innocent, right? Oh, and spoilers. Welcome to the channel, I'm Hayes. I talk movies all day, sometimes I talk about games, so subscribe right now if you want to be entertained. And today, I want to talk about Disney's 2013 animated fantasy adventure film Frozen. More specifically, I want to talk about why I think Elsa is a crackhead. Well, recovering crackhead. I'm gonna explain all that. But first, let me talk a little bit about the movie. So the general story of Frozen is that of Princess Elsa, who was born with magical powers that she never learned to fully control, so her parents kept her hidden from the world. But when the day comes for the princess to become queen, she accidentally causes the weather to change to perpetual winter and then runs away, too distraught by her own actions. Now, how does this all make Elsa a crackhead? Well, according to the Priory Group, a behavioural care provider in the UK, there are several common signs associated with cocaine addiction. Now, fear's fair, Elsa does not display all these signs, but she definitely displays a respectable percentage of them, such as brief states of euphoria. As a child, Elsa had a short time of happiness with her powers until she accidentally zapped her sister in the head, and then again as an adult when she's singing Let It Go. She then has a sudden overabundance of confidence when she starts building the ice palace and testing the limits of her powers. And they must have cut out the parts where Elsa is listening to Beyonce CDs, because she goes from queen to Yas Queen real quick. Anyway, at a coronation party, Elsa was unable to handle Anna's questioning, letting her emotions get the better of her, revealing her powers, then runs away, causing the fjord to freeze over and snow to fall on Arendelle. Elsa continues to shirk her responsibilities as queen and instead decides to live on top of a snowy mountain, so yeah, that was just a series of poor decisions really. And after Elsa builds the ice palace, she becomes restless and just keeps on making changes. Side note, speaking of poor decision making, in the beginning of the film, the ice people are chopping ice while on top of ice over water. Now I've never chopped ice before, but this looks like a terrible idea. Side note, Anna wanted to marry Prince Hans the day they met, and previously their parents left without appointing a minder, so maybe poor decision making just runs in the family. Maybe they're all crackheads. Anyway, when about to become the new queen, Elsa is super nervous about her lack of ability to control her powers and people finding out. That agitation leads to her irritability when Anna tries to reconnect with her and is immediately rejected. Now, psychosis is defined as losing contact with external reality. In Elsa's newfound confidence, she builds a talking snowman, an ice palace, gets some new drip, and lives as a glamorous hermit. So, yeah. Now, could go through the rest of the list and talk about Elsa's poor mental state affecting her daily life, her dilated anime eyes throughout the film, the fact that she never eats and only sleeps once, well, twice if you include the time she got knocked out, her recklessness and her excessive porn and prostitution habit. Oh, that bit's just in the director's cut. But I think you get the point. Many things Elsa is shown to be doing are typical traits of a cocaine addict. But let's be honest, that probably doesn't mean much. Looking through this list, I think most, if not all of us, display a good number of these traits from time to time, but that don't mean we're crack addicts. Some of us can stop anytime. I say, goddamn! Goddamn! But here's what I really want to get at here, because clearly Elsa is not a crackhead, although she did have a brief stint with Meth back in 2015. What I'm really saying is, it's metaphorical. Elsa's drug is her magical powers, which we know from Frozen 2 were inherited from her mother. Or in other words, she was born with a predisposition to magic use. And speaking of metaphors, metaphorically speaking, Olaf represents Elsa's childhood innocence. The Duke of Weaseltown represents the society that doesn't care to understand, just wants to get rid of her. Hans is the governing body pretending to care, but really just wants to take advantage of vulnerable people. Anna? I'm gonna come back to Anna. And Elsa, being born with magical powers, is effectively her own dealer, breaking the fourth rule. Never get high on your own supply. Her parents, Iduna and Agnar, never discussed her abilities much outside of hiding it from everyone, including her sister Anna. Didn't even tell her that her mother was a magic junkie either. And then when her parents died, just leaves so many questions unanswered, like, why was Iduna such a bad mother? Shut your mouth. Hey, I'm just talking about Frozen. Side note, it turns out Iduna was keeping secrets from everyone. Just watch Frozen 3, they're probably going to discover she had an OnlyFans account. Anyway, the end result was that Elsa never learned how to manage her predisposition to magic as her cravings grew stronger and stronger. Elsa grows up thinking she's all alone with no one to confide in and no one who can truly understand what she's going through. And when Elsa's magic use was revealed to the Arendellians and their initial reaction was fear, Elsa's fear was confirmed. She runs away and is effectively free of her queen duties and has no one to hide from anymore, so the first thing she does is go deeper into the world of magic use, pushing herself to limits because the drugs never bothered her anyway. It was the people's lack of understanding and judgment preventing her from being herself that was the problem. Or at least that's what she tells herself. The real question now is, who is Elsa? Elsa's childhood was cut short after she tried to murder Anna. After she tried to save Anna by knocking her unconscious and letting her fall from a great height. After that, Elsa was hidden from the world and brought up to conceal her true self. As queen, she was projecting a falsified image of what she thought people wanted to see of her. These are edited versions of the real Elsa, because the real Elsa is elsewhere. Even when leaving Arendelle, Elsa primarily acts out of fear and false bravado. The whole let it go scene was her Catholic schoolgirl moment where after being restricted for so long, she is finally free and goes wild. So what does this all mean? People go through all kinds of problems. Some we're cursed with later on in life, some we're born with. And although there are certain signs that are typically associated with certain issues, the truth is, there's no hard guarantee you'll know when someone is suffering, even if it is someone close to you. Anna never knew why Elsa became so distant. She just knew that Elsa is someone she didn't want to give up on. Even though she had plenty of reasons to, Anna kept trying to build a snowman with Elsa, wanting to return to her childhood she herself doesn't fully remember. And even when Elsa's magic was revealed and the whole town was scared, Anna didn't hesitate to go after her. Now when Kristoff takes Anna to see his friends, the love experts, who turn out to be trolls who have no respect for Anna's current relationship, yeah, he turned out to be a fraud, but they don't know that. Or maybe they did, and that's why they're love experts. But then if they knew, then why wouldn't they just tell Anna that instead of letting her get her hopes up? That's just cruel. Anyway, Grandpappy says, only an act of true love can thaw a frozen heart. Which is why Kristoff then takes Anna back to Arendelle for a next man to lips her up. But when that didn't work, Anna then goes to jump on Kristoff after realizing he'd been simping for her the whole time. But of course, that doesn't happen either. But here's the thing, if only an act of true love can thaw a frozen heart, then why didn't Kristoff take Anna back to Arendelle and everything else he did save her? Was not that an act of true love? Or when Olaf went to Anna and stayed to comfort her, even at risk of melting, was not that an act of true love either? You see, Grandpappy said that only an act of true love can thaw a frozen heart, and the assumption was that it had to be an act of true love that someone else did for her. Instead, it was actually an act of true love that she had to do for someone else. So in the end, it was Anna running in front of Han's solo attempt at attacking first out of love for her sister that became the axe that saved her. It was also the axe that let Elsa finally realize that she'd been acting out of fear the whole time and it's caused nothing but problems. And it's not until Elsa begins to act out of love that we start to see some of who the real Elsa is as she finally begins to gain an understanding of her magic so that it becomes less narcotic and more medication, leading into Frozen 2, which was more of a self-discovery story. So yeah, Anna is the real hero here. Be like Anna, except maybe don't try to marry someone you just met that day. So in conclusion, I think the overall message that they're trying to convey is, you might not always know what people are going through, but you can always be kind. And that's what I think of Frozen. What do you think of Frozen? Vanilla Ice or Vanilla Sky? Let me know down below, and while you're there, be sure to like, subscribe, and drop a suggestion if you don't mind.